Every week I plant about 800 heads of lettuce, a 50-foot row of arugula, and then seasonally we're planting a 50-foot row of spinach also, like kind of bi-weekly. I get multiple cuts off the spinach. In this video, I'm going to show you how I efficiently harvest hundreds of pounds of salad greens. I'm going to take you into my wash pack station. I'm going to show you how I built and designed my wash pack station. And then I'm going to show you how I efficiently wash hundreds of pounds of salad greens every week. Come on, let's go and I'll show you how we do it. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Chef Mikey. Welcome back to Chef's Harvest Farm. If you're new to the channel, I'm a former executive chef turned urban farmer. Always make sure that like I bring all my gear out here using the cart, right? So I don't want to like carry one tote at a time out here and carry them back, right? I do all the work at once. I bring it all in at once. So I'm not running back and forth. So I'm always thinking about how can I do the most amount of work with the least amount of effort. So always using things that have wheels. Now I've got these green totes and these are like a reusable tote that I use for the head lettuce. I have an agreement with the customer that they actually paid for the totes, and then I give them a little bit better of a price, and this way I'm not spending money on packaging every week, because I just had an honest conversation with them basically that I was delivering them their head lettuces in cardboard boxes, wrapping them in saran wrap. I tried like several different methods, but you know, it's costing me no matter what like anywhere from $3 to $4 per package, and these people are ordering sometimes 100 pounds of head lettuces every single week. So I'm gonna harvest the heads into those. They're probably pretty wet, so I'm gonna take them inside and we will dry them on my drying rack. I've got the clear totes behind there, and I'm just gonna take the rest of the bed. We're gonna fill that in with leaves, and so I'll show you how we get it all harvested. So I got my 30 pounds of heads harvested, and I just took those into my CoolBot trailer. Generally, I'm only offering this as like a cut mix. And the reason is kind of this type of stuff on the bottom. It's like ugly, and then like bugs get in there. So it's really easy for me to just cut this as a mix. None of that matters because I just hold it. I can like put those leaves down, hold it like this, and kind of cut it off here. So like none of that stuff matters. I throw it in the tote, I move right down the bed real fast, cut and then toss it into my bin. But I charge them $12 a pound for the head lettuces unwashed, so it kind of makes it worth it. But like it's an inefficient way to work, right? Like I had to go through and cherry pick all the best ones out of there, make sure that like none of this is going on, peeling off all the leaves. Like it's a pain in my butt. That's why I charge them almost the same amount of money as I do for the washed mix. I charge $13 a pound for it washed to all the other restaurants. Next, I gotta get this bed of arugula harvested real quick. Then we gotta get inside, get everything washed. This is the quick cut greens harvester. It hooks up to a power drill. The power drill spins these and then oscillates a blade down there too. These kind of sweep the greens into the basket, and then the blade cuts it. So we'll get this harvested real quick, and then we're gonna go inside, get everything washed and packed. Just so you can see the efficiency, everything comes out of the garden, which is over here. And then I bring it right through this area, and it goes right in here, which is just under the deck of my house, basically, where I store my CoolBot trailer. Yeah, I got another video about that you can watch if you want to see how I made the refrigerated trailer. This goes right through there. As we bang a left, it goes right into my basement, and that's my wash pack stations. So nothing travels more than like 50 feet from the garden. We bring it right in here, and within minutes it's either in refrigeration or in the wash pack stations. All right, y'all, and then so right through this door brings me into the wash pack station. This is just the basement of my house. There's just like this kind of wall that divides my basement into like two sections. This is kind of my wash pack station, and the other side over here is kind of like seed starting, a bunch of storage, things like that. Okay, so I'll show you around, I'll give you the tour, and I'll kind of show you how I built everything. And then I gotta wash probably 100 pounds of salad greens today real quick, so I'll show you how we knock that out pretty quickly. Okay, so one of the first things I bought when I started homesteading was this commercial sink. I used to work at K-Tom Restaurant Supply in the sales department, and they have a scratch and dent section, so I was able to get the owner to sell me this commercial sink for $300. It's like a $2,500 sink. I mean, this thing's a tank. It's got like a bent leg down here, and that's why somebody refused the shipment. They offered it to me for $700, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I just buy a cheaper sink. They said, what do you want to pay? I said, I'll give you $300 for it. She said, bring cash tomorrow. I said, no problem. But this is what I used at first. and it just fits perfectly right in these sinks. And it's just PVC pipes just like glued together. Then I just like drilled holes in it, and then I put a jacuzzi pump on the top and plugged it in. This is how I washed my salad greens when I was first getting started. Now I'm washing anywhere from 100 to 300 pounds of salad greens every single week. So this very quickly became insufficient for what I needed to do. Now, this is my greens bubbler. This is 110 gallon stock tank. I bought it at like Tractor Supply. It's pretty cheap. It's like $100. I've got this bubbler in here. It's very similar to the one I just showed you, but it's just more designed for this specific piece of equipment. Now these are just PVC pipes that I have caps on the end, and they're just filled with sand, and this just like weighs down the bubbler, because when you turn the bubbler on, it just wants to float because it's just pushing air up. So you don't want to use anything that's like not sanitary. This can be cleaned very easily with sanitizer. I clean it every time I use it. So all this stuff's already sanitized. We sanitize it after we use it every time. This sink gets sanitized before I get started because the sink kind of gets used for some other things also. Now, none of this drains into the sewer at all. And I plumbed all this myself. It is not necessarily professionally done by any means. I plumbed the water lines that come in. I tapped into that, and I just plumbed these faucets. And then this whole thing is just sitting on cinder block. The drains plumb in here, and they go behind here, and they go right out that wall. Out the wall goes a pipe. That pipe goes all the way down behind the garden, and the water comes out like down by my composting operation. But that's something you want to think of, because you wouldn't want to be washing all this dirt down the drain, because a lot of times I'll use this thing to wash all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'll bring carrots in here, beets, radishes. I'll just throw bunches of radishes right in this bubbler, bubble them, pull them out, put them on the drying rack, and pack them up when we get out of here, you know? So this is a commercial salad spinner, and it's a restaurant style salad spinner. I like things that are food safe. I don't want to like cut open a washing machine and convert it into a salad spinner. I mean, get the heck out of here, man. I picked this up off Facebook Marketplace for $300. These things pretty much last forever. I just like to have the peace of mind that it's a food safe piece of equipment. I just sanitize it, wipe it out, and you know, there's no type of risk of electrical shock. Professional grade piece of equipment. Then there's just a little drain on the back, and I put a bucket under it to catch the water, and then I just dump the water into the sink. I didn't start with this piece of equipment either. This is kind of my backup salad spinner, so it's also an electric salad spinner. And this is a 5-gallon spinner. That's a 20-gallon spinner, so it spins 4 times the amount. If this one ever breaks or anything, I got this one on hand. Like, salad greens is how I pay my bills. Everything else really doesn't matter. If it's not for salad greens, then I can't pay my bills. Bottom line. I got backups for my backups. I got that salad spinner. I got 2 more salad spinners. I could never be without a salad spinner. It's just not worth it. It's very unlikely that my sinks are going to go down or anything like that. I would be staying in business. Okay, come on, I'll show you the drying. This is my drying rack. You can see I use it for all kinds of stuff. I just like washed these squashes the other day. They kind of like get this sappy stuff on them, you know, so I just rinsed them all off before I store them in totes. So, you know, the drying rack comes in handy for all kinds of things. I got the squash cleaned up off my drying rack. I just did the best I could. There's no plans. I did go to my friend's farm, Paul from Mountain Roots Farm, and I checked out his setup, just kind of seen how he was doing it. Took a mental note and designed my own drying rack. I'll show you up close how I built it. There's some structural supports and everything, so it's not like super wobbly. Pretty solid. It does shake a little bit. I installed a light up here so that I can see all the salad greens. I designed it so it pivots so that it tips like this. So I can just go like that and knock all the stuff off the bottom. And this is just held in here with like a screwdriver, basically. Then I've just got 4 regular box fans right across the top. I put them on 3 when I'm drying salad greens, get them nice and dry. This is all just 1/4-inch hardware cloth that you can buy at any type of hardware store, and I just bolted it in with washers and self-tapping screws. I've got 2 commercial restaurant-style reach-in refrigerators here. I got both of these also from the scratch and dent section. I mean, I got this one for $600. I got this one for $900 out of the scratch and dent section at K-Tom. So, you know, if you've got a local restaurant equipment store, go in there, ask them if they got a scratch and dent section, and see if you can pick up some refrigeration for cheap. That's what I did. Check out used, or look for restaurants going out of business. That's a great place. You don't want to use like a residential refrigerator. Like, I'll show you why. These are restaurant style storage bins, and everything's designed to fit everything perfectly. All right, so you can fill bins like this, and and just slide something like that right in there, and then the door closes, right? Like you can't really, those pans don't fit in a residential refrigerator. And then this is a restaurant style stainless steel table, packaging supplies up there and down here. This is a tape machine. I'll show you how we use that in a minute. I got a scale over here, another stainless steel table. You know, you just like wipe it down with sanitizer and we're good to go. It's mostly like commercial restaurant equipment that I use down here. It's just easy to clean on the food safe surfaces, with the exception of the greens drying rack, but I still just sanitize that using a cloth or a spray, you know. So before I get started, first things first is sanitation, right? So I sanitize all my food surfaces first. This is what I use for sanitizer. It's a no rinse commercial food service sanitizer, meaning you can like wipe the surface clean and you don't have to rinse it afterwards. It just kind of evaporates and this sanitizes the surface. So I put 1 capful of this, which is about a tablespoon per gallon of water. I use this bucket for my sanitizer bucket. And then these are test strips. So you can test it with this and it should turn like the green color or whatever. This really like reads the parts per million. Basically you want it to be the green color. And that's how you know you've got the right amount of sanitizer in there. So you just kind of put that in your sanitizer bucket. Turns that green color. And our sanitizing solution is right where we want it. I got all my sinks filled up, everything's sanitized. I always fill the center 2 sinks with water. I just kind of like divide this in between the 2 middle sinks and give them a initial rinse. Just make sure that I submerge it really good. And I generally just use my hands and just kind of push it down. It's lettuce, so you want to be really fragile with it. You don't want to push it hard. You just want to get it under the water. Most of the stuff comes off in this first initial rinse. This is just like a sifter that I bought at a restaurant equipment store, you know. So then I just kind of shake it off like this, and then it goes into the bubbler, and then we'll bubble it next for a couple of minutes. You know, and you can use this, just kind of agitate it a little bit, and just kind of knock that dirt off. And then once I get all my lettuce out, I've got this thing, and it's just like a finer mesh fry later skimmer. And I always use this to like skim all this like dirt or bugs or anything like that off. You see, I got this stuff left in there. Got my little trash can right here, and I just knocked it in my trash can. So I always make sure that I'm like filtering the water like this, so that I'm starting with the cleanest water possible on every single batch. You don't want to just like keep dumping the stuff in here, because you're just gonna like, I mean, you're just gonna be left with like all the bugs and the dirt still in here, you know. So you always want to skim it off. And then my general rule of thumb, if it gets so dirty that it, like when I stick this down a few inches, you can't see it anymore, and that's when it's time to change the water. And this is not the only rinse, right? This is just the first initial rinse. So it's okay that this water is dirty like that, you know, because we put it in here, we're gonna wash it again. So I always wash it twice. Okay, so I got my little switch right here, and I just flip that switch and turn my bubbler on. Okay, and then I drain off as much water as I can, again using this, right into my salad spinner. And it's super important not to overfill the salad spinner. If you cram it too full, then it can like bruise the greens because it spins it so fast. And it's got some clips like that. And then the timer down here. I just set that timer for a couple minutes. Let it spin for a couple minutes while I transfer my other greens into there. It goes through the salad spinner, and I mean, but it's still wet. I mean, you could pack it like this, but this extra step of putting it on the drying rack like this, like really improves the shelf life. So I get it, just gets those last little bits of water off the leaves. And then when I stick it in that bag, I mean, the feedback I get from customers is that this stuff will last up to 4 or 5 weeks sometimes. I mean, I've ate it 6 weeks old before. It always depends like on the quality before it goes into the bag, the storage, you know, how long has it stayed out of refrigeration. If I just keep it in the refrigerator here, I mean, it's staying there for 6 weeks, you know, but you get that last little bit of water off using the fans, and it really extends the shelf life, and that's what really makes the product have a reputation that it's more valuable, right? Like, people are willing to pay more for this because it lasts forever, right? It's harvested today, I'm gonna sell it tomorrow. I mean, I'm selling it to restaurants, they use it in 2 or 3 days. I'm gonna deliver it to, I deliver to the restaurants twice a week, so I deliver on Tuesday, they order more for Friday. So, I mean, they don't store it. You know, I still dry it so that it's not soaking wet, nice and dry. That's how you deliver the highest quality product possible. And then also, as I'm drying it, this is where I'm going through, making sure everything looks good. If there's any like dead leaves that made it in here, I'm picking those out, throwing them on the floor, just sweep up the floor when I'm done. I try to get it nice and even, and then I blow the fans. As it dries, you know, I'm constantly kind of going like this, like fluffing it is what I say, you know? You want to constantly fluff it, and that just helps it kind of dry all around. You go like this, it's gonna dry faster, because if you just leave it, like the fans are just gonna blow it and just sandwich the water in between the leaves, you know? So you gotta go like this, kind of get them dried all around, you know? So always fluff it the whole time. It's pretty dry right now. I mean, I would let it go like, I don't know, 1 more minute or so, but good enough's good enough a lot of days. So I got this thing, I can just kind of like easily kick it around like this. I just set this tote right on it, and then I just take my greens and put them in the tote like this. And then once I get like the greens off, you know, and it's got like kind of that residue on it, but like I want to make sure that that doesn't get in there. I don't want like the wilty stuff or the little crappy things that fall through, you know. So I just knock that stuff on the floor real quick before I put my next batch on, and then my next batch, actually, I'm getting into arugula. So I want to make sure that I get all that lettuce off there before I put arugula in, because I don't want to have cross-contamination. Once the drying rack's empty, the most important thing I can do is get more greens on it. I don't want to go start packing my bags over here, you know what I mean, and not have greens here, because then you can't move forward from back there. I pack my greens, then what? I'm going to dump them here, and then I got to stand here and wait. So you want to be constantly multitasking while I'm waiting for this to dry. Then I'm going to go pack these bags over here, and then when I come back, I can start all over. Put this in here, put it over there, get my spinner on here, and then it's just a constant rotation. So you want to get a really nice rhythm going. And you can crank this out fast. I'm almost like 100 pounds in, right? So I can wash about 100 pounds in, let's say 3 hours. I mean, it might take me a little bit more. I'm making the video today. You know, you can wash 100 pounds of salad greens pretty easily in half a day. And I mean, I've definitely done 200 to 300 pounds in a day before, and that ends up being like a 10 to 12 hour day if I'm doing 300 pounds in a day, or it's a 2-person job. So somebody's just washing, somebody's just packing. We'll usually like have somebody wash, get a bunch of bins ready so somebody can just come pack. That's the best way that somebody can help, is to just pack, you know, because it'd take all day, especially if I'm packing market bags. So then I just bring everything over here to get it packed up, and I just put my totes full of clean greens here. I got all my packaging materials up here, so my bags and everything. I'm just packing up a few bags for one of my farmer's market customers. He's a doctor. I live near the hospital. I haven't been going to the farmer's market lately. He's just called me and asked me if he could come by, and he's gonna pick up 6 of my market bags of salad greens. So I just pack up these half-pound bags for the market. I fill them up like a balloon, right? I want the air in there. That really helps the shelf life to have a little extra air in there. And then, so I fill it up like a balloon, I twist it, and I got my little bag taper here, and then I just taped it closed, and that's it. And this is what I take to the farmer's market when I go. But like I said, I haven't really been going to the farmer's market lately. I've been in the farmer's market twice in like the last 8 weeks. It's been selling everything to restaurants. You know, I make, it costs a lot to go to the farmer's market. We'll get into that conversation another day. I just toss them on my scale. So for the market, I do half-pound bags. I've been selling them at the market for $7 for a half-pound for the last 3 years. I recently upped my price to $8, just because I can't grow this stuff fast enough. All my costs have gone up, and then I'm charging $13 a pound to restaurants. So I put them in 2-pound bags for the restaurants, and a 2-pound bag costs $26. I'm constantly looking, you know, make sure I'm not like putting bugs, or it's like fall time, you know, so at the end of summer. and yesterday was the first day of fall. So the leaves are falling off the trees, you know, so a lot of like leaves can get mixed in here. I picked a few of those out today. So, I mean, hopefully generally all comes out in the wash. You always just want to keep an eye on that, especially like I got pine trees, so you get pine needles in here sometimes. So I always want to make sure we're pulling that stuff out, or just keeping a lookout for it. Just keep my eyes on a swivel, if you will, you know, always looking for stuff like that. Now I got all these ones sitting over here. Those are all 2-pound bags for restaurants. I'm just gonna put a date on them because I got some other ones in here that were harvested on Friday. We're gonna move all this stuff tomorrow. All right, and then my refrigerated trailer, it's right out that door. So, you know, just a few steps and we're in the refrigerator. And then that stuff's all set, ready for the deliveries tomorrow. And pack a couple more coolers up, or no, one more cooler I got packed up for one more client that ordered 8 pounds of salad greens. We're gonna bring them tomorrow. All right, y'all, so it's Wednesday now, and I washed all those salad greens on Monday, so a couple days ago. Then we did deliveries yesterday. And I sent Max and Becky, a couple gals that work for me, over to the leased property. They just like pulled out all the radishes and turnips for me. And they came back here, we ripped all the tops off them, and then we used the bubbler to wash them. So we just removed all the tops. I just dumped them into the bubbler. It's like super muddy, but I mean, they got super clean. It took me probably 1 hour, and I washed nearly $1,000 worth of radishes and turnips. Sell them for $5 a pound, and I got roughly 100 pounds of each, maybe a little bit more. And so yeah, it took them, you know, it's pouring rain out today. They picked them in the rain, and it took them, I don't know, a few hours, and then 1 hour to wash them, and now they're all packed and stored. And I'll spend the next couple of weeks working on selling them probably. I just dump them in there, bubble them, and then I put all these baskets up here to drain them. So I just scoop them out, drain them in the sink, let them sit there for a minute, then I dump them into my totes and I wheel them right into the CoolBot trailer. It's like super efficient, you know, I do everything right here. Right out that door is the refrigerator. We'll just store them until we sell them. I mean, it could take me 4 weeks to sell them. It doesn't matter. I'm just sitting there. I'll sell them over however long it takes me to sell them. But sometimes like restaurants buy like 25 pounds of radishes at once, you know, so it doesn't really take me that long to sell 100 pounds. So there's definitely like a couple inches of mud down in there, so I just drain it out, scoop the mud out, and then I rinse it all out real quick, you know. So a super efficient way to wash root vegetables also, so I just want to show you how I do that. So somebody just ordered 40 pounds of these Badger Flame beets, and they want them with the tops on. So I got this little setup over here, and I'm just gonna like put a screen on there on top of the sinks. I'm just gonna spray them off with the sprayer and then put them on the drying rack and pack them in the reusable totes for them, and that's how I'm gonna deliver them to them. And then they just give them my totes back. So yeah, I'll show you how I clean these guys real quick. So I'll show you too how like I use the bubbler to like sanitize my totes sometimes, you know. Like I just sent Max out on my deliveries, and she came back with like stacks of totes because we deliver a lot of stuff to restaurants in these totes, and then they give us the totes back when we come back in a few days, you know what I mean. So she just came back with like a good amount of totes from the restaurant. So, and it's like pouring rain out. Sometimes I'll like set up a station outside with like my market benches or something and spray them out with a hose and just like spray them with the sanitizer. It's kind of easy sometimes, but it's like this Hurricane Helena right now outside, so it's like pouring rain and there's not much else to do. I'm just cleaning up and tidying up around here. So I'm just gonna fill that bubbler up with sanitizer, and I'm just gonna dunk all these clean. You see, so right around that corner is where I just washed it all, and it comes right back in here. I stack them, and that's where we sort our totes, you know what I mean? And then that's the door, goes right outside to the CoolBot, and then the gardens are right there. So we can just grab the totes on the way out, or when we're bringing stuff in out of the cooler, we clean it, it just goes right here, right? So we're never like traveling very far with anything. Nothing's like stored very far away. We're like 7 or 8 feet away from everything at all times, you know? It's super efficient.